Hey there, it's Jordan. It is day 5 of the United Auto Workers strike. I am here in Wayne, Michigan, in front of the Ford plant where we've been before. It must be fate, because I'm standing next to Tiffany, and I just told her my birthday's in 10 hours. And guess whose birthday is also in 10 hours? Tiffany. But she's not my twin. We just have the same birthday, September 20th. So happy early birthday. I will be shamelessly plugging my birthday all live stream to try and get member sign up, so you'll be hearing it quite often. Before we get to Tiffany, an update, and smash the like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. We were in Canada this morning at midnight because the contract negotiations, the contract between Canadian auto workers and Ford expired at 11:59. We're standing there hoping for some action in front of the Ford plant in Windsor, Ontario at midnight. Unfortunately, nothing happened. They extended negotiations for another 24 hours. I'm seeing some angry comments from Canadian workers who feel like they're might be getting sold out by the union. But as of now, there's no deal for the Canadian auto workers and Ford. And Unifor, the Canadian auto union, says that after this 24-hour extension, they still reserve the right to go on strike. Now, here in America, it is day 5. Yesterday, United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain announced that if the big three, Ford, Stellantis, General Motors, do not significantly increase their offers by Friday at noon, so that's, what's today, Tuesday? 3 days from now, if they don't increase their offers, they will go on strike at additional plants. That's been the strategy all along. Start at these 3 plants in Wayne, Michigan, Toledo, Ohio, and Wentzville, Missouri. And then if the big 3 continue dragging their feet and making insulting offers, they're going to go on strike elsewhere. So by Friday, you might see additional plants on strike. Even though it's only 3 plants on strike right now, it is having effects at other plants because other plants rely on parts from these plants. I will tell you, I was told that there is one company in particular that is a little spooked and, let's say, shitting their pants based on some of the strike action so far. And I'm excited to announce I did interview United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain earlier, so we'll have that up on the channel a little bit later or tomorrow. Let's not get hit. They're chanting scab for crossing the picket line. So that looks like a supplier crossing the picket line here in Wayne. Smash the like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. So Tiffany has my birthday tomorrow. Tell me, you've been here for a year.
Yep. Been here for a year, working full time, and I actually really like it here. You know, I do. I like working here. I just want everything to be fair, like it should be.
And, you know, I've talked to so many people over the last few days that if you're around here, working at one of these companies is kind of thought of like, that's the dream. Yeah. You could get, you know, good wages, benefits. So you're new. What did you think when you were coming here, and what's it been in reality?
I thought that it was definitely going to be a game-changing kind of job to support my family, pay my bills, do everything that you do, you know, as an American. And it's been hard, you know. Sometimes I have to figure out which bills I can pay which month and then put some off because, you know, life is hard like that. You know, and the old timers that are here, they really sacrificed a lot too. So, you know, they need to get back what they lost. Yep. They lost their pensions, they lost a lot. And that's what this is all about, you know, being fair and doing the right thing.
And, you know, I keep hearing in the media, it seems to be this, all the CEOs got in a room and decided to say the same thing. But it's very like, you know, let's get a violin for the companies. You know, just because they're profitable now doesn't mean they'll be profitable always. And if they meet these demands, they would, in some cases, they're saying they would go bankrupt. Ford's CEO has said that. How can that be true if all the companies combined have already made $21 billion just this year.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's not true. I'm going to say that. I definitely think that saying something like that is a poor strategy. But, they don't want us out here. They want us in there. But we want what we want before we go back in. So we're not going back in until we get what we want.
Tell me about your situation. Do you have kids? What kind of, with inflation and everything else, how's the economy been for you?
It's been tough. I have 2 small children, one 3 years old, and just supporting my family. Every time I go to the grocery store, it's $100. I don't have that kind of money to spend every day at the grocery store. So, inflation has really hurt everything and everybody. It's not just us. It's all across the board, Yeah. It's bad.
And, I don't know if you noticed, but you've had a lot of politicians out here the last few days. Well, not today, but a couple have come the last few days. And I always find it interesting because they seem to manage to come when the cameras are here. But what are they doing when the attention's not there? Do you think, aside from, politicians holding up signs and expressing verbally they're with you, is enough support coming around the clock?
It's nice to have that support. We need solidarity right now. We need to stick together. That's the most important thing we can do out here. I'm sure there's going to be other people striking. I'm almost positive. And I'm with them too. We're all together in this, getting what we should get.
And, it's interesting because you have the Blue Cross workers are on strike right now. UPS just avoided a strike, but they were doing practice picket lines and, threatening a strike. It's obviously you've had Amazon and Starbucks. Do you feel like something's going on where, like, the sleeping beast of the working class is finally kind of waking up?
Absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself. I think there will be a movement for the workers around the country to get what's fair and be able to live the American dream. That's just what everybody wants. And you hear it and it sounds so cliche, but it's just what everybody wants. They want to be able to have a home and be able to pay their bills and fill their refrigerator. So, those kind of things are hard right now for me. So it's hard. So it's challenging, I do the best that I can. And, some months I might have to put a bill aside and get a phone call maybe to pay it because I had to pay a different bill, So I'm always constantly catching up, and that's hard too.
And let me ask you, you keep hearing about how great the economy is. The media keeps saying, the economy is doing a lot better. You have Biden has called it Bidenomics. I don't know. I mean, maybe for them, but everyone I'm talking to, I haven't talked to anyone says they're sleeping well, and have plenty of, savings. Is this a strong economy we're living in?
Not for, if you're trying to be middle class, It is if you're the 1%. If you're the 1%, nothing's wrong for you, The rest of us, 99%, we need to do what we can do to just survive. Like I said, live the American dream, and we're affected by it. I mean, everything with the economy is not good for us right now. I don't understand why they say it's good. Maybe they should go shopping once and check the prices of things and see how good it really is, for us. It's hard.
And, if you've been here for about a year, you basically started under this new UAW leadership. The UAW president got elected in March. What do you think? Because I've covered strikes before, 2019, and leadership, let's just say, was not as aggressive. In many cases, kind of folded the tent. Do you like the leadership you're seeing from the UAW?
I do. I think they're doing a great job. They're working 24/7 to make sure that we get what's fair. And I have nothing but good things to say about the whole UAW, I'm proud to be in the UAW. My dad was, so, it's very important to have a union, very important. Without it, we couldn't do this. This is amazing support,
I don't don't want to upset you right before your birthday, but I was watching CNBC, and obviously they're not big fans of the union. But the anchor, who, by the way, Joe Chariton, makes $3 million a year, so obviously he knows, pulse of the worker. But he said, all these workers complaining about the CEO pay, that's just optics, he said. That's just them, kind of the politics of envy. Is it just optics what these CEOs are making? This Ford CEO is making $21 million a year?
Clearly, it's not optics. I mean, clearly, that's just not fair to the rest of us who are working, every day to make what they're selling. That's a lot of money for one person. When we're struggling, it hurts. It does hurt.
Kind of demoralizing.
Slap in the face. Yeah.
Former president Donald Trump says he's coming here next week, the 27th. He says he's going to talk to the workers. He says that the electric push is just an abomination. He thinks switching to electric is screwing the workers, and he says if he's reelected, he'll reverse Biden's push for electric. Shawn Fain had some words for Trump this morning, saying you guys are out here fighting billionaires like Trump. What do you think of Trump coming out here next week? Do you welcome that?
I welcome any support that our union gets. Positive support. That's what I'm looking for. We'll see if he actually comes here, though. I would be fascinated to see that. But we do need support. I personally, might not believe the same things, but the support is nice.
What do you think about the electric? Because I've heard it from different workers. A lot of workers are not against it, but the fact that you have a lot less job security at these electric plants, and it doesn't seem there's a high demand right now for the electric vehicle.
Well, the government made it that way. They made it to where we are still dependent on oil, and we need to get these electric cars on the road, though, still, We all have children and family, and we don't want to leave the earth a worse place. We'd like to leave it a better place, I think. So we'll see what happens with that. I haven't heard a lot about the electric vehicles. Like you said, it kind of got pushed back,
Well, happy birthday to my fellow Virgo. Less than 10 hours, it's both of our birthdays. I won't say how old she's turning. I'm turning 37. So maybe we can get 37 signups today as members. If you haven't signed up as a Status Coup member, what are you doing? Do it for my birthday. I'll be 37 at midnight. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So that's Tiffany. Tiffany. Yeah.
Last name of all is Kerr, K-E-R-R.
Say it again?
Kerr, K-E-R-R, last name.
Thank you. So that's Tiffany.
Do you want to interview this guy? Is he
Sure.
Yeah.
He's a Michigan Supreme Court justice?
Yeah.
Okay. Current or former? Okay. So smash that like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see this. It's day 5. I will tell you, since you can't see it on camera, but we do have some officials from the Ford Motor Company staring us down like we are pariahs. One of them came over, of course, for my safety, and asked us to move away from the street, which is where we were the other day. So they made us move here to the corner. But I will tell you, right now, I don't think negotiations have really moved that much. From what I am told, negotiations are furthest along with the UAW and Ford. I am told that right now GM is kind of most stubborn. But as of now, it seems that there is not going to be any breakthrough by Friday. And Friday is what Shawn Fain, the president, has said will be the next kind of deadline if the car companies do not make serious improvements to their offers. He's ready to strike at more plants. Talking to you. Hey.
How are you?
How you doing, sir?
It's a pleasure.
You can move right over here.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. What's your name?
I'm Richard Bernstein.
Hey, Richard.
And it's a pleasure to be here, and all I can say is, I love the UAW, I love the men and women of the UAW. I love their resilience. I love their strength. I love basically what they represent. They represent the idea of hard work. They represent the idea of resilience. They represent the idea of strength. And it's funny, my grandfather, Mandel Bernstein, goes back to the days of Local 600. And now I can't state any position on the agreement because of my job, so I can't take a position as to the requests. But the reason I wanted to be here was really what I wanted to make sure is how much I love the people and how much I care about the people and what the people mean and what they represent. And just the fact that when you've been a UAW family the way that we have for, years and years and years, going back to like the 50s, you just tend to see, and again, with my job, I can't take position.
I heard you're Supreme.
Yes. So obviously I can't take a position as to what the agreement is, or I'm just not allowed to do that. But what I am allowed to do is I'm allowed to come and spend time with family. And the UAW is family. These folks are family. I've known this union and been a part of this union. My dad's been with this union, and my brother, my sister. This union really means a lot to us. It's a very special group of people, and they represent the best in all of us. And I think when you look at a situation like this, and again, not taking a position, but when you look at the situation, that we're kind of facing, I don't think people realize what a strike does to people. I don't think people realize what a strike is. I think people don't understand that a strike is going to result in folks making $500 a week. How do you, if that? And it's not always even that. And I just remember, this is my second strike, and I remember being up in Greenville when basically they were getting ready for a strike. And I just remember the conversations that the workers were having. All they wanted was to basically, I remember that strike. I can comment on that strike. I just remember what they were asking for in Greenville. And the only thing that they really wanted in Greenville was they simply wanted they just wanted safer working conditions. They wanted the machines to basically function at an appropriate pace. They wanted it to be a place that you could go to work and not get injured or not lose a leg or lose an arm because the pace of the line was going too heavy. And that was all they wanted. And it was just and they had to strike over basic, simple working conditions that were just designed for the safety of the workers. They had to go through all that. And so I just think that what I hope that folks will understand about a strike is that these are real sacrifices that these folks have to make. These are hard sacrifices. These are people that basically are not going to have money for food. They're not going to have money for medication. They're not going to have money for their house payment. They're not going to have money for their kids' schooling. They're not going to have money for the basic necessities of life.
Which also affects downstream, because that's less money going to restaurants, less money going to business.
But I think what's important, though, is that as hard as it is, on the local businesses and on the feeding economy, I just think that more people have to understand that when a strike is taken, and then when people do this, there is a real sacrifice that goes with it. There is a real struggle that goes with it. There's a real challenge that goes with it. There's a real discomfort that goes with it. And these folks are doing that, and they're really doing it for all of us, because hopefully they can preserve and protect. Look, without taking a position, this wonderful lady, she started here 4 years ago. She was making $16 an hour. She's been here almost 5 years. She makes $20 an hour. You just have to, and again, I'm not taking any position, right? But at a certain point, you just have to, without stating a position, you have to ask yourself, what is fair? And then the question is, and we hear this a lot, but is $27 million? I've always wondered, just taking it out of this context, right? We're not talking about the strike. We're just talking in general, right? Without talking about the strike, we're just talking on a general basis, right? what person deserves $27 million? I'm just trying to think of who would ever deserve, like, you know, if you don't found the company, if you didn't build the company, if you didn't create the company, you get hired by the company, how do you justify $27 million? And how do you, like, what is it that a person does that makes them say, wow, I earned, or I am worthy of making $27 million? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I understand people making money. I get that. But and I can understand, like, you know, if you built the company yourself. But if you get hired, what is it about you where you can actually say, I am justified in compensation of $27 million? What would you even spend? I mean, what would you spend $27 million on? Like, what would you spend? Like, what would you spend $27 million on? Like, what would, you know what I mean? Like, what would you even spend it on?
Now, let me ask you.
I don't even know. Like, if I make $27 million a year, I'm trying to think. Think about it. It's probably a 5-year contract for $100 million. What would you spend that on?
I have no idea. Let me ask you, not on this specific strike, but as a judge.
Yes.
Obviously, unions gave us so many important labor victories.
Yes.
You know, 40-hour work week, overtime pay. But the more workers I talk to, not just in auto industry, everywhere, it seems like certain laws are being bended. I mean, you got temporary workers who are endlessly temporary for 4 or 5 years with no pathway to full-time. You got workers that are mandated to work, in some cases, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Do you think that, you know, legally, not this strike, but in general, legally, there seems to be lines being blurred between...
I think that, like, in every scenario, you've got to take it on a case-by-case basis, right? And that's why you have unions that basically are there to do that level, nature, and scope of enforcement. So that's why the unions play such a critical job, is because at the end of the day, you can have all these rules and regulations, and you can have all of these, you know, different things, but if you're not going to have any enforcement, right? If you're not going to have anybody trying to enforce the laws, if you're not going to have anybody that's basically standing up for it, what good is it? I could point to, you know, 100 different laws that are on the books right now, right? But the big question is hundreds of laws that are on the books. But the only thing that makes anything relevant or meaningful is if there's legitimate enforcement behind it. And that's what the unions do. They actually create legitimate enforcement to do that. So yeah, I would imagine all across the country, all across the world, you're having this as an issue. But if people can get away with it, they're going to do the best they can to, you know, get away with it.
One second. Let me just tell you what's going on. There's trucks coming in. They could be suppliers. I don't really know who the companies are, but, you know, they're scabs, obviously. Yeah, and the union is, you know, the striking workers are allowed to stand here. It's protected. It's protected where they're striking, but the company over here is getting a little feisty, some of the officials from Ford, because they're claiming that, you know, union workers are blocking the entrance for these, whoever the trucks are, I presume Ford suppliers. So seems to me legally the union, they are where they're allowed to be standing, and they are allowing the suppliers in. The suppliers might just, you know, have to wait a second. But they are chanting scabs at the supplier. Thank you. They are chanting scabs at the suppliers because obviously the suppliers are crossing the picket line, which is a big, big no-no. So that's what's going on. I've seen about 2 or 3 so far since I've been live. And I heard kind of, while I was interviewing that gentleman, I heard somebody from Ford saying, you've been given instructions and you're not following it. So smash that like button, share this live stream so we can get this out to more people. I will remind you, I'm not doing this for ego, but it is my birthday at midnight. So a great birthday present would be more people signing up as a Status Coup member. We have been out here. We've been covering this for weeks before the strike, but this is day 5 of our coverage. We will continue our coverage for the rest of the week. It's expensive to be out here. We just had to extend the car. We actually had a little car accident yesterday, which was not us. A tire came off another car in front of us. We didn't have time to swerve into this lane next to us, so we ran over this tire, which hit our bumper in front of us, and the bumper was hanging off. So then we had a 2-hour expedition, having to go to the rent-a-car company, and it was a whole headache. We switched cars, but that was a bit of a nightmare. Then we went up to Canada. We were there at midnight in front of the Ford Ontario plant, which they did not go on strike at midnight. But we were there, and that video's up. So definitely check that video up. We reported right before the midnight deadline to see if there would be a strike. But we will be continuing to cover the strike for days. Like I said, if you came here late, UAW President Shawn Fain, who I did interview earlier, we're going to have that up later or tomorrow. He announced that by Friday, if the companies do not make significant improvements in their offers, they are going to go on strike at additional plants. How you doing? Oh, come over here. Great. What's your name?
Alice.
Hey, Alice. How long you been with Ford?
11 years.
I've talked to people 10 years, 11 years, 30 years. I spoke with people 50 years. And you keep getting the same thing. A lot of what you veterans are striking for is the next generation as well as yourself.
I don't know if I'm considered a veteran.
Okay.
I'm still considered in progression.
Really?
Whatever that means.
After 10 years?
Yeah, in progression, but I'm hoping for, pension, insurance after retirement. I was in the tiers, but I think I just made it out, but I'm not sure. Is progression just a fancy way to say that I'm still a tier? I don't know.
And, what's interesting to me is those CEOs don't have such tiers. When they get to a certain level, they're making obscene money. But I spoke with a woman in Toledo the other day who's got a 1.5-year-old. She's temporary worker, or what they're calling supplemental. And
That's how I started out.
yeah, that's how you started.
Supplemental.
And it's crazy. During the summer, she got a lot more work because, senior workers are on vacation. But then when they come back, she's cut to 3 days a week. I mean, how do you live with that kind of unpredictability?
It's been unpredictable. I work on a Ranger line, and they haven't been building very many of those. And for, I want to say, a good month, we've been running out of racks, going home early. Only certain people get short work week. And then, out of the 12 of us that's in our group, only 4 or 5 get short work week, which isn't fair to the people that are lower than us, because we're all being sent home at the same time.
What do you think about, I keep hearing it's like all the CEOs just got together to say the same thing, but they keep saying, if we give into these demands, what about teachers? What about firefighters? You'd be leaving them behind. I don't really think any of these CEOs particularly care about those workers, but they basically have said that this is basically too much money that they're asking for.
Whatever happens here might happen in other areas of our economy. But I don't know a whole lot about striking. This is my first strike. I'm glad it's peaceful.
You said pensions are important to you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you get towards retirement, you have enough security? Because Social Security, you're getting less and less. Medicare, they're basically trying to privatize in many ways. What are your feelings when you get to retirement?
Well, I think I got 12 more years, but I don't know if that's, let me think, age 62, 8 years would get me to 62. 12 would get me to having the 20 years required to go. I'm hoping that the pension, I don't know if it'll be enough, because our cost of living keeps going up, which means it's going to cost more for everything when it gets to my turn to retire. So if I don't have a pension, I only have this test fee, which is a tax-efficient savings plan for hourly employees. So it's basically a savings plan that I'll be able to draw on when I retire. But I won't have health insurance at this point. That's what they're trying to get worked out so that, I don't even know how people retire early. Because in order to get, like, the state Medicaid, Medicare, you have to be 62.
I haven't talked to many workers that don't have something. Shoulder, back, knees. How have you been 10 years into this?
2 carpal tunnel surgeries, 1 trigger finger surgery. I have an illness that I found out about in 2001. That's not the company's problem. But I'm going to require doctors and medicine for the rest of my life. So I need the health insurance. If we can't get it from them, then we're going to have to kind of harass our senators and try to get them to give it to us earlier than 62, which is, I think, the Medicare, Medicaid age. But
a lot of people are staying in these jobs just for the health insurance.
Yes, I'm here for the health insurance. I will admit it 100%. But I have, I think, a strong work ethic. I can only speak on me.
What do you think about, you keep hearing in the media that inflation's getting better and prices are getting better, but I'm talking to people who are just...
I don't agree with that. Go grocery shopping in the States. You have to choose. Am I going to buy meat or am I going to buy vegetables? So... I haven't seen a big change in the cost of living. I don't
think there's a disconnect between D.C. and here?
I do. They make more money than we do in D.C.
Well, most of them are millionaires.
Right. So.
What's your name again?
Alice.
Thanks, Alice. Appreciate it. Take care.
Chewing gum, it's not good.
We're not 60 Minutes. Don't worry. You could chew gum, have a ball. No, I'm not from Canada, but we were there this morning.
Status Coup. Is this like a podcast?
We are live on YouTube as we speak.
Live?
Yeah. We're almost at 153,000 subscribers, so
You'll have one more.
we might get there today, hopefully. So if you're not yet subscribed, what the hell are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Again, it is day 5 of the UAW strike. We got over 600 people watching. So smash that like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. Do it for me on my birthday eve. Let me see if we got any member sign-ups. I want to read some super chats before we interview more people. Welcome, Karthik. Karthik signed up as a member. Welcome, Karthik. Welcome, Melinda signed up as a member. Welcome, Melinda. Dan SND joined as a member. So that's 3 new members. Hey, we could do better than 3 new members. We need more people to sign up. $5 to $10 a month. Do it for me. I'm turning 37 at midnight. My back is killing me out here. My knees are killing me. I'm thirsty. I need you. StatusCoup.com/join. Unless you're depending on CNN to tell the truth about the 40-year demolition of the middle class. If you think CNN's enough to cover this strike accurately, then I'll go home. But if you want honest, independent reporting on what's going on here, please support us. StatusCoup.com/join. As a reminder, there have been a few trucks that have come by through the picket line, i.e. scabs. The Ford officials over there in the yellow vests are getting a little pissy about it. I heard one of them kind of yell at a worker that we've given you instructions not to block the trucks. But this is they're on legally protected ground. This is where they're allowed to strike. Come on over.
Hey, how's it going, bro?
Hey, what's your name?
Antonino Nicosia.
Hey, nice to meet you, Antonino.
Nice to meet you.
How long you been with Ford?
I've been here about 3 years now.
Okay. Are you one of the unlucky temp workers?
No, so actually I got flipped to making a little bit more. They kind of fallen into where they're taking a little bit more care of us right now. So, okay. Yep.
Tell me, for you, what's been the top issue that made you want to go on strike?
I think just fairness across the board for everybody. I mean, there's a lot of people in here that they abuse with the temp position, and they don't get the full benefits and everything like that. And so fairness across the board, and then I think just getting back what everybody gave up. My dad, he's been working here since '99, so I just know he's given up a lot. Like, he made more in 2009 adjusting for inflation than he does now, and I just think that that's insane. I think that we need to get back to a fair wage for everybody.
So growing up with your dad working here, did you kind of have a impression of what the company was? Yeah. Were you like, kind of itching to work there? And what's it been in comparison to what you grew up thinking it was?
Yeah, the big three were growing up right outside Detroit. It's like you hear Ford, GM, Chrysler, those like stick out and you're like proud. It's a bit of pride coming from that name. So when COVID happened, they opened up a job for making ventilators over in Ypsilanti, and I jumped on the opportunity. My dad got me in, so I thought, he always made a great living for us growing up, so I was like, hey, that's awesome, man. And not that it hasn't been what I expected, but I definitely think that they could take care of their workers a little bit better.
And the CEOs are going on TV, they're crying crocodile tears. We won't be able to compete if we give in to these workers. We won't be able to innovate. The Ford CEO, I don't know where he got the math, but he said if we met these demands, they'd be paying you each $300,000 a year. I have no idea where that number came from. There seems to be something's not adding up here between what they're saying and what they're making.
Yeah, exactly. The numbers don't add up. Farley was on there talking about if he gave everybody a 42% raise or whatever, that it would bankrupt the company, but they gave their CEOs a 40% raise and nobody batted an eye. So I just think it's crazy how these CEOs can flip the script when they're talking about working class people making a living wage.
What do you think? You grew up here in the Rust Belt. All you hear about America, the envy of the world. Everybody wants to come here. If you just work hard, you can make it. Seems not to be the deal anymore. It seems you can work hard, but for many people, you're slaving away and really not getting that much for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what this is all. That's what Ford was built off of. People coming here and getting a job at Ford. It was a part of the American dream. They were living it, So, yeah, nowadays you can come and work your ass off here at Ford, and then you're gonna have to go get a second job doing construction or whatever trade that you're good at just to make ends meet. So I don't think that that's the American dream that people were envisioning.
And you're a young guy. Tell me, I talk to workers and I'm just picturing on that line just like the walking limping. Everybody's got back and knee and carpal tunnel and rotator cuff. You're young, but how is it on your body in there? Some jobs are tougher than others, and I think that's a big part of what, for fair pay for everybody, because, there's tough jobs, and those are the jobs that a lot of the young TFT guys are getting put on. And like you said, in a few years, then they're going to be having back problems and this and that. So, yeah. And I don't know if you heard, but a certain former president says he's coming here next week, Trump. He said that the union leadership is, quote, selling you down the river. He's not a fan of the electric vehicle transition, which some workers have said, there's been issues with it. What do you think of him coming, and what do you think? Do you agree with him that you guys should shift away from that electric transition?
I'm not big on the politics. I think that all these politicians grabbing to support the union or to do this and that, I think it's all that politician stuff, that's crap, and I don't think that, if boiling down to it, none of those politicians are coming out here and helping us.
I think they're doing it for the photo op for themselves.
100%. The photo op and a couple votes, maybe to get the union backing them, but no, politicians don't really care about us. That's all for the news and for the photo ops, like you said.
I'm glad you said that, because I've been covering a lot of these. I covered John Deere's strike in 2021, Starbucks union campaign, Amazon union campaign, nurses going on strike. I've been to a few picket lines, and I get the impression just people are just done waiting for DC, because it's all empty promises for years while they send your jobs overseas. Do you have hope that you're starting to see all these different industries striking, trying to organize unions?
Yeah, I think that that's really important for the workers to, know their worth and be able to stand up for what they believe in and what that they think they deserve. I don't think that politicians and these corporate, the the CEOs and everything, I don't think that they should be able to tell us what we deserve. I think that the workers have to stand up and show what they deserve.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, I have one son, new father, 9 months old.
Oh. I got a 10-month-old.
Oh.
Congrats. I mean, how is it? Because I talked to a temp worker in Toledo yesterday. She's got a 1.5-year-old. They're changing her hours so much. She's got to work 2 jobs. Sometimes she's not making more than $600 a week. But I'm also talking to full-timers that are delaying bills, choosing not to pay certain things because they can't afford it. For you, with a young child, are you making enough here?
Definitely since these past couple months, they've been cutting hours. The 40-hour checks is definitely not, it's like scraping by paycheck to paycheck, which, I think that they did that too. Coming up to this contract, they cut everybody's hours, so everybody would be hurting, and that they would be itching to sign a contract just to get a little extra money in their pocket from that signing bonus. Yep, so I think that the companies know what they're doing, and they hurt their employees, and they try to get an unfavorable contract for their employees, and they hurt them in the long run for it. And it's just corporate greed. That's what Fain's been saying too, that we're fighting against corporate greed.
So what I'm hearing is you think they're intentionally kind of just making you desperate, so that if they dangle $5,000-$6,000 signing bonus, workers will be so desperate they'll take an overall bad deal.
Yep, and that's what's happened. I mean, I can't speak for myself. I've only been here 3 years, but I know for the past few contracts, that's a lot of what happened is people hurting, and, a $10,000 signing bonus, $10,000 in your pocket right away, that can help with a lot. And
that gets taxed, too.
Yeah, it gets taxed, too, and if the company's handing that out to make the employee, it's basically like hush money, so their employees aren't getting what they deserve.
Yeah.
Every 4 years, they give them $10,000, and everybody stays quiet, and it didn't happen this year. It didn't work for them this year.
I don't know if you've been watching media. I watch it. I like to torture myself. And CNBC, which is the business network, one of their anchors, he makes $3 million a year, so clearly he knows what's going on, right? He said, these workers and their complaints about the CEO pay, that's just optics, he said. He said, you guys are just envious. What's your thoughts on that?
Envious of making money, making good money. I think everybody here works very hard, and they're entitled to making good money as well. So I don't like the optics thing. You could say that people at McDonald's working full time make as much as us, or Jim Farley had said if we would make so much more than the Army or these people, school teachers. I just think across the board, everybody needs to get paid a little bit more. I mean, the economy's crazy. I just think across the board, everybody would benefit from more pay.
What do you think of Ford? I mean, they got a $9.2 billion loan from the federal government this year towards electric vehicles. I don't really think there was many strings attached to it. It's not like the government said, we're going to give you this loan, but you have to keep wages at a certain level, or you need to make those plants unionized that are doing electric vehicle. Do you think that the government should be given those types of loans without some requirements attached to it?
That's the politics side. I can't really speak on that. I don't think very educatedly, so I'll stay away from that.
And lastly, the UAW president has said by Friday, if the companies don't sweeten their offers significantly, you're going to go on strike at more plants. Do you feel that this strategy right now, with kind of slowly but surely start small, even though it's only 3 plants, these are affecting other plants. Do you like that, or do you want to see everybody out at once?
I think it's different. I think they have a plan, and they obviously know what they're doing up there. So, I have trust in them that they're doing the right thing, and that they're going to put some heat under Ford's and all the big three's ass to get going on this contract and give us a fair deal.
What's your name again?
Antonino.
Thanks, Antonino.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. So there's another young worker, but they know the deal. They certainly know. Oh, wow. We're at 800 viewers, so that's awesome. Keep pressing that like button. Keep sharing this live stream so we can get it out to more people. Let me read some super chats. Again, if you're coming to this late, I am not beyond begging. It is my birthday in 9 hours, so feel free to sign up as a Status Coup member as an early birthday gift. I work hard, and we're doing this for you. All right. Shout out to James, Christina, Carlos, and Jennifer. Those are members from yesterday and today, so thank you for signing up as a member. We got a website donation, $5 from Mike. Thank you, Mike. You could donate to our website as well to fund this reporting. $10 donation from Diane. Thank you so much. She says, thank you, Jordan and Lewis, for your exposure of corrupt Norfolk Southern Railroad, EPA, local, state, and federal government agencies, of denials of evil and despicable behavior. It's my birthday tomorrow. I want to stay in a good mood. Do not bring up Norfolk Southern to me, or I will explode. I'm kidding, but not really. Thank you for your fucking angry behavior in support of the real citizens of the United States. And also thank you for your support of Flint residents, too. These corporate bloodsuckers should be all wearing orange jumpsuits. Wouldn't that be lovely? Can we send one criminal CEO to jail? Just one. Maybe a banker. Maybe a fossil fuel executive. Maybe one of the Sacklers who poisoned America with opioids. I don't know. Silicon Valley. Raytheon. Just one. I would take 6 months in an orange jumpsuit at this point. None of them. Anyway, a $100 donation from Bakar. Thank you so much, Bakar. That's really generous. $5 donation from Dyke. I think that's what it is. Keep up the great work. You're appreciated. $100 from Robert. Thank you guys so much. Power to the people. And welcome new YouTube members, AC and Corey. Listen, I'm taking off my glasses. We need more people to sign up as a Status Coup member. So if you're not a Status Coup member, all I'm asking for is 16 cents a day. That's $5 a month. 16 cents a day. If you don't have 16 cents a day, okay, I'm not going to, that's fine. If you do, statuscoup.com/join, become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. This is day 5 of our coverage. We've been in Michigan. We've been in Ohio. We were in Canada this morning. And we're doing this because, frankly, there's not a ton of good coverage out there. There's some independent coverage, but mostly it's corporate crap that's just regurgitating what the corporate executives are saying. Come on over if you can. Oh, hold on. He's going to get his pizza. Awesome. Hey, Richard, come on over. I'm Jordan. Nice to meet you. How long you been working at Ford, Richard?
Just 6 months.
6 months.
Yes.
So this is new territory for you with the strike.
Yes, I've been in mental health the last 20, so I'm now here in manufacturing.
You know, it's interesting if you've been in mental health because I'm talking to so many workers that it's got to be tough for your mental health. I mean, working 10, 11 hours a day. A lot of them are getting barely enough to pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
Just the physical pain, the mental toll. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a choice matter. I mean, some folks have to work, to survive and feed their families. It brings a heavy mental toll. I mean, I have to drive an hour away, so I'm an hour away, so I have to get up every morning at 3, so that's a big mental toll on me.
3 a.m.?
3 a.m.
And you got kids at home?
They're grown.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily, they're grown, so they support themselves.
Okay. Tell me about what made you shift from mental health to manufacturing in the auto industry.
I mean, the mental health field it's no teamwork left. So you need teamwork to be in that field because if a patient attacks you, you need help. I didn't get help, so I didn't feel safe anymore.
Okay. Gotcha. And for you, what's the biggest issue? I know you've only been here a few months, but is it the wages, the tiers?
The wages, the tiers. What I do like, I need the health insurance, so those things are important. So I'm looking forward to getting better with those things.
Obviously, we've had a big debate over the last few years in America about health insurance. Obviously, Bernie ran on it should not be attached to your job. We should get health insurance as a right of being an American. Others, have said, well, we want to keep private insurance. But so many workers, I feel like if not for the health insurance, they would not be working this job.
Yeah. The health insurance lured me. They have great insurance where I pay very little for health care. So, that would drew me off the rip. So, yeah.
And what do you think about that? Just in the wealthiest country on earth, so many people stay in jobs that they don't really want to be in just for that.
Just you got to survive. You gotta work to survive. Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Tell me about the companies, they keep saying, we won't be able to compete. We won't be able to compete with Tesla or, foreign car makers if we give in to these demands. Meanwhile, they're sailing on their third yacht or, one in Stellantis. He was at his vacation home in Mexico and he was supposed to bargain. Seems like a bit of bullshit to me.
Right. I believe it's all bullshit. The rich get richer or get some back to help you get to where you are.
Mm-hmm. And for you, what do you think of all the media, politicians? They say the economy is doing a lot better. They cite the low unemployment rate. Do you feel the economy is doing well?
Well, I feel the economy is steady. It took some hits, but I've worked all my life, so I have never had a problem with the economy. Yeah,
and for you, what's it like being out here on the strike line? Because it can get rowdy at times. Yeah. People are energized. Obviously, it's the first few days. What's the mood been like with you and your colleagues?
Well, this is my first day picketing today. It's high energy. I expect it to remain that way throughout.
Do you like, since you've been here only a few months, do you like this new UAW leadership that is demanding a lot more and, not just taking whatever crumbs is offered?
Right, yeah. I've heard of what happened with the recent UAW team. This is a lot better, yeah. So I feel a lot safer with them.
What do you think of Trump says he's coming here next week? He's, he likes to talk kind of labor, but obviously he's a billionaire. UAW President Shawn Fain criticized him earlier, saying we're out here striking against billionaires like Trump. Trump said he would kind of reverse these policies of the Biden administration towards electric vehicles. What do you think of that?
Well, as far as the electric vehicles, I'm not too familiar with them. I know we're planning on building a plant somewhere in Tennessee within the next year as far as making electrical cars. As far as Trump, let him come. Let's see what he got to say.
Yeah. So you're for any politician coming here if they're going to talk to workers?
Yes, I'm for that. I'm good with that. Yeah, I don't have no problem with that. Yeah.
And lastly, it seems like this could go on for a while because the companies, they're dragging their feet. They do not want to give anything on pensions, from what I see. Yeah. And the UAW president said they're going to start striking at more plants Friday. How long do you think you guys and girls can stick it out for?
Long as it takes. We have to. We got to stay in solidarity.
Do you feel this is kind of bigger than just the auto industry? Do you want to see this spread?
Yeah, it's bigger than the auto industry because, people have worked a long time and not reaped the benefits. So, hey, let people reap some of the benefits of this. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's your name again?
Richard.
Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Absolutely. So, hey, you got people here, couple months. Couple people I've talked to today have been here for 6 months, about a year. So it really is kind of like a wide spectrum. The other day I talked to someone who's been here 50 years. Got a lot of people who've been here 25, 30 years, and a lot of young people, but they're kind of just all very similar stories, which is, you heard them. People are not thriving. They're just trying to survive. And that is not a strong anything. That's not a strong economy. That's not a strong country. It's what I always say. We're living in an economic Hunger Games, and the powerful in the media and D.C. just kind of dress it up and disguise it as, a thriving democracy and a strong economy. It's neither of those. Let's see where we're at here. Been live for about an hour. Let's keep it going here. Hold on. Almost 800 people watching, so keep smashing that like button, keep sharing this live stream so we can get it out to more people. I really, really appreciate all the donations. I very much appreciate all the kind people that have been signing up as Status Coup members. We would like to stay out here, as long as possible, but it's going to take, more financial support. We do not have any funding from Ford or GM or Stellantis. We have no funding from big banks or fossil fuel companies or big pharma, real estate companies, Silicon Valley, military industrial complex. We get funded $5-10 at a time from you. So that's why I'm always asking if it's possible for you. Sign up. That's statuscoup.com/join. $5 to $10 a month. There's a lot of outlets out there that are always asking, but they're pretty much just bloviating out of their assholes from a studio. We get out there on the ground, and those on-the-ground trips, I mean, just me and John being here so far for 5 days, probably cost about $3,000 so far, between the rent-a-car, hotel, the flights, running over a tire yesterday. It's expensive to do actual reporting, and that's why so few do it. So we'll stay on it. Another email. Hold on. Choo. No member sign up since my last ask, so hopefully more of you will sign up. Let me read some chats. All right. Shout out to Catherick, signed up as a new Status Coup member. New YouTube members, Dan signed up. The No J Consortium signed up. I like that name. Super chats, Double K, $49.99. Holy cow. Thank you so much, Double K. I'm not light skin, 99 cents. Thank you so much. Rich, $5. Happy birthday, Jordan. Keep up the great work. Why, thank you, sir. It will be my birthday at midnight. 37. I got to tell you, there's a lot of miles on these tires. I feel like I'm 47. So I might need to start doing something, yoga, or I heard about this, you know where you could go to, it's like cooling chambers, like cryogenics, where you go and it's like you stand in like minus 10 degrees and it's supposedly good for your body. I heard about that, so I might try to do that. Babel, $49.99. Happy birthday. Get a cocktail on me. Please cover the Blue Cross Blue Shield strike, protest outsourcing. Every worker needs to join for worker co-ops and non-corrupt, non-racist Democratic unions. Dr. West is the only true pro-labor presidential candidate. Go West 2024. I did see Dr. West was in New York City yesterday. There was a massive climate protest, a lot of arrests. So thank you for that. Boxer Mom, $19.99. Thank you for the excellent coverage. Union strong, local 600, sister. Thank you guys so much. The super chats, the donations, people who are signing up as members. We're also almost at 153,000 subscribers on YouTube. I believe we are 23 YouTube subscribers away. So if you're watching and you haven't clicked the subscribe button, we could probably get to 153,000 while I'm live. If you came here late, just a reminder, I interviewed UAW President Shawn Fain right before we were live. So we're going to probably post that tonight or tomorrow morning, maybe probably tomorrow. Really good interview, and he said a lot I have not heard yet, which was awesome. I try not to do any hero worshiping. I try not to bow down to politicians. I do not bow down to union presidents most of the time. I will say my impressions of Fain seems very genuine to me, speaking with him on camera and off camera. And I think he means what he says. Obviously, it's more than just him. There's a bargaining committee and other leadership at UAW who are a part of this. But I think he means what he says, and I think I do not see him as just folding the tent without some major improvements, not just on wages, but on other things. So I think you're in good hands if you are a UAW president, if you're a UAW member. So people still picketing over here. You have people down the block that way. You got people down the block that way. So it's not just here. And across the street is the UAW local. That's where people probably are going to get their strike pay, I would assume, which is $500 a week if you are at one of these plants striking. And, they have stuff for retirees at the local union shops. Like in Toledo, you got people bringing in pizzas, water. So a lot of things going on here. Anybody else want to talk over here? Or we can walk down. All right. So we'll walk down to the other picket line down the block. Keep on smashing that like button. Keep on sharing this live stream so we can get this out to more people. I will keep reading super chats too, so feel free to send those. Anybody else want to chat? Don't be shy. All right. And a lot of these workers are actually getting interviewed a lot, so, they might be a little tired. But I do see workers striking down the block. You want to chat, Charlie? Oh, that's not Charlie. Never mind. Cars honking. By the way, what do you think? You think we slept like 4 hours? Yeah, we were in Canada at midnight at the Windsor, Ontario Ford, waiting to see if there would be a strike. There was not a strike at midnight. Unifor, which is the auto company, the auto union in Canada, they extended negotiations with Ford for another 24 hours, which I do believe pissed off a lot of Canadian workers. Hello in Canada if you're watching, because I did see some of you stop me in front of the plant at midnight and told me you've been watching. So, yeah, no strike at the moment in Canada. But, yeah, I don't think I got to bed till 1:30. And then when we woke up, we headed back to the US of A. So it's been a 24 hours. But it was cool to be in Canada. I do have some Canadian family. So this is another picket line over here in front of Ford Michigan Assembly Plant. So they're over here. You got more folks down that way. Hey, you want to talk?
Put me in the background.
Background? Okay. We're live if anybody wants to talk. Yeah, would love to talk to people. You could just put it there, and I'll talk if you want to try to rope. If you want to try to rope some people. So while we wait to see if anybody wants to talk, let me also tell you some other stuff going on. From what I've been told, I believe that of the three companies, Ford has made the best offer to the UAW. That doesn't mean the offer is far enough, but Ford at least is making better offers than the other two. I believe GM has been the most ghoulish as far as corporate America. And GM is being very obstinate in terms of refusing to make substantive offers. So even if they kind of make a deal with one company, there might be, one or two others that are keep dragging their feet. How you doing? Hey, I'm Jordan. Daryl, nice to meet you. How long have you been with Ford?
It'll be 29 years in January.
29 years, so most of your working life, you'd say.
Pretty much.
Tell me about this strike for you. What was kind of the biggest issue that you felt it needed to happen?
Get the wage tiers settled up so that we all make the same. I don't want to work next to somebody doing a similar job making less money than me. But it looked like they're straightening that out, with the top tier wage, like they're bringing them up quicker. But other than that, it would be, just the pay.
Tell me about, since you were here during the financial crash, the company has said if you give back, we'll give it back once we're in a better position. Doesn't seem.
I don't remember hearing that promise.
Okay.
But I'm not in the mainstream of things either.
Okay. And do you feel 30 years in, a lot of people growing up around here, this is kind of a dream job working at one of these plants. It used to pay a much better living, benefits. Do you think it's really deteriorated?
The same, but inflation went up, so now it's like I'm making less. When I go out, to do any buy-in or bill paying, it's like, it's like I'm making less. I mean, this should have been addressed a long time ago. When they took COLA away, it put a cap on it to where no matter what, like the retirement's the same as it was back in the 90s.
And it's, I read something earlier that back in like the early 20th century, a worker was making $5 a day at, I think it was GM. If you adjust that now.
That was Henry Ford. When he started the assembly lines, he put a sign out front saying he'll pay $5 a day.
Right.
That's what that was good pay back then.
In today's, day and age, that would be about $153, and most workers I've talked to aren't even making that.
153 a day.
Like younger temp workers. Yeah.
Yeah, new coming in, they ain't making that much.
For you, I assume you have some type of pension being here for 30 years? So do you think the companies seem to be very stubborn in terms of bringing back pensions for younger hires, new hires? Is that...
I don't know. I'm not in them rooms having them meetings and everything, so I have no idea what's going on with that. All I know is it's the same as it was in the 90s. I'm going to retire making the same monthly salary that my uncle made back in '94 when he retired.
It's got to be pretty demoralizing.
No, it's just one of those things, I mean, I don't think that's going to go up. I just hope to see, our wage go up. I see people in there, like especially the new hires, working a side job because they're not making enough, and then it's just that's kind of uncomely for Ford to have people that need to sideline.
They call this a family, but I spoke with somebody the other day, between his two jobs, working 16 hours a day. Shouldn't have to do that while you're working here at Ford.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when I hired in, I'm the only one working. My wife's a homemaker and raised the kids, and we did fine. But as inflation goes up, that's slowly not being as much. Do
you feel, because you hear in the media and politicians say the economy is doing good, unemployment's low?
People, I don't know.
You said for some people.
Well, some people the economy's great. And them are the ones that don't want to pay us more money, I guess. I ain't gonna get into the ugly part of it and have enemies over it or anything. I'm just here. They call us out for strikes. This is when we stand up for our union. So,
you like the leadership being more aggressive this go around?
That'll depend on how it all ends up. I mean, doing a lot of different things. That's never been done before. Will it work or not?
What's your name again?
Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate it. Absolutely. So that was Daryl. What's that? Status Coup. We're on YouTube. Yeah. COUP. Yeah. So that was Daryl. Been here for 30 years, and making what you made in the 90s isn't going to get you so far now. Coming on over?
I guess so.
Yeah, come on over. Hey, Keith.
Hi.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Keith.
How long you been working here for?
Almost 25 years.
Oh, wow. So 30 years, 25 years. For you, was what's been the biggest issue that made you think it was time for this strike?
The biggest issue? Management, Farley, and then the guy just under him, Kumar, I can't think of his last name. They came here a year ago and asked why there's such a turnaround. Well, there's such a turnaround when you're paying McDonald's wages. How do you expect these young people to come in and think that they're going to build a career? They leave because it's so hard on their body. And so I can go to McDonald's, I can go to Target and make the same amount of money, with the same benefits that they keep claiming that these new hires get. They don't. And so what do you think they're going to do? And Kumar said, well, this is a career. It's not a career. Stop treating it. When I hired in, it was a career. My friends were like, how'd you get in here? And now I couldn't give a golden ticket. I couldn't give a golden ticket away here. No one wants to work here now. So that's why you have such a turnaround. And they don't want to pay. We took concessions back in, 2008? We voluntarily did that for the company. And they were gonna make everything right. And the only way they've made it right was by saying, giving themselves wage increases and, screw us.
What does that mean when they say this is a career? It sounds like they're saying, hey, you need to be hazed for 15 years before you could make a decent living.
That's exactly what they're saying. It's that, we're a family company, but their way of treating their family is pretty screwed up. I mean, I personally know someone. She's got 12 years. Well, she should have 12 years in. She's got 8 because they made her 4 years temporary part-time. So she works, 60 hours a week, but expected to be here all the time. No vacation time. If they shut down early, then she doesn't get those hours. So let's say that there was a part shortage and she gets 20 hours. 20 hours is all she gets. How are you supposed to live on that? And then at $15 an hour, 16, whatever it is, it's ridiculous. And then they wonder why they can't get people to. They've been trying to run 3 shifts here. I don't know how long now, and they can't get enough people for 2 shifts. There's a reason for it. It's not rocket science, but for some reason it is.
I see a lot of people respond to this with kind of that reflex. Well, if you don't like it, go get another job elsewhere. Is there a lot of great union jobs around town that you could just go get?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you've got, as you can hear, there's a lot of support, but there's some people that hate us. And, whatever. I'm going to just smile to the bank. Because eventually we're going to get it's going to come to an end.
Yeah. And since you've been here a while, you've seen other kind of UAW leaderships. You heard a lot of the times during contract negotiations, fight to live another day. If we don't take this, they're going to close down the plant. What do you think of this current leadership, which is, demanding a lot more?
I voted for Fain. I voted for him because our past leadership was corrupt. And I'll tell anyone that. My own union knows that I thought some of them were corrupt. I voted for Fain because I believed he was fighting for what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for these young people to actually have careers. So the livelihood I knew I was going to have when I was 20 years old, these same kids can have. And Fain's fighting exactly he's doing what I would do. So that's why I voted for him. So, yeah, I love him.
For you, obviously, you're in a better position than a temporary worker, but I'm sure with inflation, things aren't, necessarily so easy for you either.
No, absolutely not. But it is. I'm in a lot better situation than these new hires and these temporary workers that have been here 4, 6 years, whatever, still making the same amount. So, I hired in, it was like $15.61 or something like that an hour. And basically the starting pay is still the same. And that's 25 years later. And I mean, gas is insane. So, but they can take their 40% increase, CEOs, and whatever.
I talk to a lot of workers that have to drive an hour to work. Yeah. So it's like, just to get here, you're, per week probably spending $150, $200.
Oh, for sure. See, now I live relatively close, so everything, if I wanted to move out further, that would be on me. I get what you're saying, and it is a lot more, but it was also your choice. So I can't really say that the company owes me for where I moved to, So I know that that's going to be an unpopular belief, but there's things that I do that it's what I enjoy, so I've got to pay the price, but it would be nice if they would actually honor what they told us they would do back in 2008.
What they told you they would do?
Well, that by taking these concessions, that we would make it right to you guys, and they just haven't. It's the only way is that they've taken their wage increases, and then they go to the news. And Jim Farley just the other day is saying, well, look, they want $300,000. Yes, you know what? I would love it if they would pay me $300,000. Realistically, I'm not an idiot. I know I'm not going to be paid $300,000. If he wants to pay me, sure, I'll sign right now. But realistically, I know that that's not going to happen.
Where's he getting that math? I don't know what the hell he's talking about. That if they give you a 45% increase, that every worker would make $300,000. That makes no sense.
I think that maybe he opened a Cracker Jack box and maybe a fortune cookie, and that's what came out like, oh, your workers want $300,000. I don't know where he's getting this nonsense from, but apparently he thinks he looks smart by saying this nonsense. So anyone out here is going to tell you that the same thing, that any realistic person is going to say, you're not paying me $300. I know that, but I just want a fair share.
You've been here for 30 years. Tell me about your body. Everyone I've talked to, shoulder, back, rotator cuff. How's it been for you?
2 years into it, I had smashed my hand into a door jamb because the gun had over-torqued. So I had to have surgery because I developed trigger finger real quick. So, but overall, I've been pretty blessed with my career here. So I can't, some of the other people have some more stories, horror stories, or what will you? But I've been pretty fortunate with, I mean, yeah, no, I've had a few things. I've had a puncture in my leg, and you know, I've been beat up, you know. But there's some other people that have a lot worse than I have.
Let me ask you, because I watch some of the media coverage, and it seems very sympathetic to these companies. How, oh, is this going to hurt the economy? And oh, you know, these companies, how can they compete with Elon Musk and Tesla if they give the workers this, or foreign automakers? They come, you know, I've seen local news. I mean, yesterday I was in Toledo covering the picket lines. The CNN reporter, he's like standing off to the side most of the time. And then he goes, you know, live on CNN, but he's not really talking to workers, really. Do you feel like the media gets what is going on with the workers, or even cares for the most part?
So I told him I was only going to talk to you guys. Some friends over here told me I should talk to you guys. You were literally the only ones, because the media twists it on us, and they're catering to these CEOs, and there's been a few that have showed us some promise, but I just can't take a chance of them flipping my words on me. So
you're live, so I wouldn't be able to.
True, but you know how media, they'll cut at it, they'll do whatever. So you're literally the only person I would talk to.
You know, honestly, what's striking to me, Jim Cramer on CNBC, who's compared Shawn Fain to Trotsky, which is kind of funny. He said, hey, he says he also was in a union, so that's kind of interesting. But he says, hey, if the UAW wants to play hardball, these companies should just close down the plants for 2 years, go to Mexico. Right. These people on TV, I mean, they make a lot of money, but it just seems like they see the workers almost like a balance sheet number, you know?
Well, see, I've been telling all my friends, and Ford, I hope you're listening. I've driven a Ford for 28 years now since I've been driving, and my lease is up in March, and if they want, I'll drive a Kia, I'll drive a Subaru, because this is what they're telling me, is they don't want me to be able to afford their vehicle, and that's fine. I'll go to another company. I have no problem. If that's how lowly they think of us, if they can't wrap their educated brains around the fact that if they were to pay their employees more, then a lot of that money would go right back to them. But they're too simple-minded to realize that the money that they're paying their employees is coming right back to them. But if that's what they think of me, that's fine. In March, if Farley's still there, I'm going to go Subaru, I'm going to go Toyota, I'm going to go to these other ones, because it's ridiculous that they think that lowly of us.
Right. And what do you think of Trump says he's coming here next week? He bashed UAW leadership, saying that they're selling you down the river. He said that if he becomes president again, he's going to reverse this electric vehicle push. You know, I've talked to some workers who feel like there's not enough demand, but do you think it's a good thing if he comes next week? And do you agree with him on the electric vehicle is not working out?
See, the political thing, I don't like any of them. So until they can prove that they're actually going to back what they say, you know, I voted Trump. And, you know, he did some good, but he also did some bad. I mean, he's too trigger happy with the social media. And, you know,
think?
A little bit. And but they're all in it for the vote. So back what you're saying. And
actions speak louder than words. Both parties have sold you jobs everywhere else but America. Yep. They're taking money from these companies, and I mean, Biden kind of verbally stood with the workers, but he also pushed NAFTA and TPP and.
Exactly. It's all about the vote, and I respect Fain for saying, I'm not backing any of you until you prove that you're for us. Right. And that's great, because in our past leadership that I've come out and said that we're corrupt. Some of them are sitting behind bars, would just empty-handed give their referral to the Democratic Party. Right. And nothing against the Democratic Party, but back what you say you're going to do. Don't just come out here like,
Well, they're going to just abuse you and take you for granted if they know your vote's going to be in their pocket.
Exactly. And so they need to stop, and Fain stopped it. It's great. So we've seen a lot of Democratic leadership come out whatever. I mean, if you're going to back us, I'm going to back you. And but I want to see that you're supporting.
I think another issue is they just gave Ford a $9.2 billion loan. I don't know why they need a loan when they just made $20 billion last year, but there's no strings attached. It's not like that loan is contingent on keeping wages at a certain point or ending tiers or making the electric plants unionized. Do you feel like Ford should be getting those types of government subsidies without some requirements attached to it?
I think I'd probably sound like a fool if I talked on that, because I just don't understand, just by your own logic.
Free money. Basically.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they need it. But there's a lot of things I don't understand why these companies are getting some of the handouts that they get.
Because we live in the United Corporations of America, that's why.
Right, the greatest country in the world, right? Yeah.
Lastly, Fain has said that this is about more than just the auto industry. It's the entire working class. Blue Cross Blue Shield is on strike. UPS just avoided one, but they had their practice picket lines. You've seen Amazon workers, Starbucks workers, John Deere. Do you think that this could kind of catch on elsewhere? If UAW, gets a good contract.
Oh, absolutely. If people would realize their worth, they would stop hating us so much and realize that we're fighting for all these people. We're fighting for the middle class. And some of these are just not seeing it. They think that we're wanting something for nothing, and it's just not the case.
What's your name again?
Keith.
Thanks, Keith. I appreciate it. Thanks.
You're literally the only one I was doing this for. Literally the only one I was doing this for.
And it's my birthday at midnight, so if you want to tell the kind viewers, they should be supporting Status Coup.
The only one to be supporting. I mean, he is for the people. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And happy early birthday.
Check's in the mail. Thanks, man. There you go. I mean, I do what I can. I'm not bragging, but there was some people honking at me in Canada this morning. They've been watching north of the border also. So hello to my Canadian friends and viewers. Let me take some water here. Smash the like button. I think we've been live for about an hour and a half, so it's good. I'll tell you what, I'm not made like I used to be. These long live streams can definitely wear you out. Let me see where we're at here. 900 watching. Awesome. Smash that like button. Share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. This is day 5 of the UAW strike. I have a feeling this is going to be a lot more days because these companies are dragging their feet and they are greedy ghouls trying to exploit the workers. We're also 6 subscribers away from 153,000. So if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button so we can get to 153,000. Let me see if I got any members that I could shout out. I will say it for the 20th time. It is my birthday at midnight, so if you want to give me an early birthday gift, do it for Status Coup. That's statuscoup.com/join. You could sign up as a member for as low as $5 a month. That's what's funding this reporting. Let me read. I think we got some more super chats. YouTube member. So Mark just signed up as a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Mark. We got a super chat from John 999. Great coverage, Jordan. Keep it up. Thanks so much, John. Neurotica Productions, $20. Happy birthday, Jordan. Why, thank you. Sparkle, $2. Just sub. Thank you for coming to Detroit and supporting the United Auto Workers. Michael Pette, $10. Coup equals true. This is where you come to really know what's going on. Thanks to Jordan and an entire team for another day of great coverage. Absolutely. Thanks to John behind the camera, who's been with me 5 days here. Colin doing a lot of the editing and behind the scenes stuff. I'll tell you what, something that's important, yes, there is technically media out here, but I mean, the media that comes out, for the most part, they seem to just all be saying the same thing. They're not really digging to tell the stories of these workers. They're not really digging to tell the stories of this corporate evil, this corporate greed, and they're certainly not willing to call it out. And I don't come from this school of thought where, you're a journalist and you're supposed to be stand like a neutral robot. Why do you have to be neutral to exploitation? as a journalist. That doesn't make you a journalist. That just makes you an idiot. No. As a journalist, I believe I have to present the facts. That is my first and foremost job. But I don't need to just stand here and pretend that these workers are being treated right, or that these companies are like benevolent institutions that actually truly believe that they are a family. I could tell you that these companies are lying about the numbers, the math, because that's the truth. Being neutral doesn't make you a journalist. It just makes you a fraud. You shouldn't be neutral to exploitation. You shouldn't be neutral to human beings having to work 16 hours a day between two jobs just to survive. That's not, that doesn't make you a journalist to pretend that that's normal and that's just. It just makes you a stenographer for the powerful and an idiot. And those are the people that win awards, by the way, in this fucked up media system we have. You win awards when you regurgitate bullshit from corporate America. You win Pulitzers a lot of the time. If you're independent and you tell the truth, you're not going to make the money you make as a CNN anchor or a Meet the Press anchor. That's okay. I don't need to make that type of money to be happy. I'm plenty happy talking to the workers, telling the truth. And we're really trying to build Status Coup. We've been around for 5 years, kind of brick by brick. You know, we go out on the road. We try to stay out as long as you fund us to be out here. And it's very rewarding to not have to answer to anybody. The only people I answer to are you, the viewer. I don't have any boss. I don't have any, like, massive, plutocrat investing in us. I don't want, well, if you're like a progressive and you want to give me money with no strings attached, I'll talk to you. But I only have to answer to you, and that is a very, very rewarding thing. If you came to this late, let me just give you an update. Let me know if anybody else wants to talk, John. Let me know if anyone else wants to talk too. If you came to this late, basically negotiations are where they've been. From what I'm told, Ford is making the best offer so far, but not an offer that would like reach a deal. And remember, even if there's a deal between Shawn Fain, the UAW leadership, it has to be voted on by the members. So even if they had a tentative agreement today, the voting process could take several more weeks. So just because there's a deal doesn't mean the strike ends. It would still continue. So basically, this could go on for another month. It could go on for 2 months. Who knows? It could go on longer than that. So there's several steps. And if they make a deal with one company, there's still 2 other companies to go, because this is the first time they're on strike against all 3 at once. And Shawn Fain is, according to him, he's keeping his word. So he has said that if there is not a significant improvement by Friday in terms of the company's offers, that they're going to start going on strikes elsewhere. In Michigan, I mean, you got plants all over. You got Dearborn, you got Flint, Livonia. I'm probably forgetting some places. So there could be several other locations in Michigan. Illinois has, these 3 companies. The Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Missouri, obviously. So you could see the strikes start to spread. Since I've been live, I don't know if there's a change in terms of the Canadian negotiations. Midnight was the contract expiration for Unifor, the Canadian auto industry, the Canadian union, Unifor, and Ford. But Unifor announced that they were extending negotiations for 24 hours because they got a last-minute offer from Ford. And remember, whatever Ford offered the Canadian workers, if Unifor agrees to it, UAW is going to be looking at what the Canadians got, the Canadian workers. So Ford, in their mind, they know that what they're offering the Canadian workers has to at least be the minimum of what they're going to be offering the workers here. So it's kind of interconnected what's going on in terms of negotiations in Canada and here, obviously 2 different countries, but at the end of the day, Canadian workers, American workers, same needs, food, warmth, medicine, those kind of things. So smash the like button, share this live stream. I guess we can go down a little further. All right. We'll walk the line a little further here. How you doing? A little cloudy here in Wayne, Michigan. but I see a lot of signs down there, down the picket line. Toledo, let me tell you, Toledo was like a rave yesterday. They were dancing in the streets and taking selfies and having a grand time. And obviously, you know, that's easier to do in the first few days of a strike. But, you know, the longer these strikes go on, you got to keep energy, morale, you know, pressure and stress falls on workers because you're only making $500 a week. You know, that's really not sustainable to support kids or, you know, a spouse or yourself. So it's definitely a good thing that they're on strike, but it will become more tense, more stressful, more economically tight as this goes on, but also becomes more stressful for the companies too, because you know how these corporations operate. They don't want to lose $1 a day, much less millions a day. They don't want their stock price to go down. They don't want any backlash from the shareholders. So it kind of is a game of chicken between the union and the companies. However, by the union taking this approach, which is a few plants at once, they are not, you know, draining their strike fund. Their strike fund is about $850 million. But if you went on strike at all plants, all three companies, all at once, you'd go through that strike fund probably within like 2 or 3 months. So obviously this allows the strike fund to stretch a little further. Honestly, I mean, this is my third day, I think, in Michigan. I've seen very few cars pass that aren't honking. It seems like they're honking in support of these UAW workers on strike. And it was the same thing in Toledo yesterday. A lot of honking, a lot of support, which is a great thing to see. So let's try to talk to some workers. Smash the like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. So we are now in front of same plant, just a different gate. You can see the plant there. How you guys doing? Hey. So they got pizzas over here. Do you want to set up and see if we can get anyone else to talk? Let me see if I missed anything here. All right. Catherick, Melinda. We also got Dusty signed up yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday. James signed up. Christina, Carlos, Charmaine, Gabrielle. So that's awesome. Let me see. Got 800 people watching, so keep smashing that like button. Ooh, I see a $50 super chat. Kevin, these CEOs make over $500,000 a week. Come on, man. Isn't that vile? Isn't that just vile? That's not, you know, they use the term income inequality. This is theft. These CEOs, who probably wouldn't last a day on the plant floor, they're stealing. They are stealing labor from these workers. They are stealing wages from these workers. They are stealing probably years off their life. And they are stealing benefits. So at the end of the day, I think what Fain has been talking about, and there's something he said at the rally the other day that really stood out to me. He said, this is Shawn Fain, the UAW president. He said, the only limit we have is the limit we put on ourselves. And I think what he's trying to say by that, and I asked him about it earlier because I interviewed him earlier. We're going to post that probably tomorrow. I think what he's trying to say is this dynamic and this endless error of just accepting crumbs, that's a mindset because we're limiting ourselves and we're limiting what we can achieve. if we just fight. Nobody? Okay. So I think it's really important, that mindset, because we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned in this country just to do what you got to do to survive. Don't demand more. Don't fight. I mean, look at the French. They tried to raise the retirement age by like 2 years, and they fucking revolted in France. Revolted. Storming the gates like it was the Bastille. But they have health care in France. And they have basic, a lot more protections as part of being a citizen in France than we do. So, here, the main protection you have, which they have been attacking for 30 years, is a union. And that's why they're able to go on strike. And that's why they're even able to get $500 a week. And that's why all these corporations, Republicans, special interests, the Koch brothers, Democrats have been bruising and battering unions for the last 40 years, because they knew if they could just take out the unions, that's how they could funnel the money to the top. It's not an accident that chart, the red line and the blue line, it is not an accident that all the wealth started hoarding to the top, starting around the late 70s and 80s, when they started attacking unions, Reagan and the flight attendants. It's not an accident. It has been a systematic policy, and honestly, Democrats have been in on it too. Biden could say, I'm the most union president, I'm the most labor-friendly president, or I'm the most pro-union president. Biden's first fundraiser when he ran in 2020 was with a vice president of Comcast, a union-busting company. Biden, as a senator, pushed NAFTA, which hurt a lot of these workers and their families. In my mind, based on covering Trump's campaign in 2016, him pushing against NAFTA, even though he didn't mean it, was why he won. It wasn't Russia. It was he understood that this region, the deindustrialized Midwest, had been battered and bruised. And he seized on that. I covered Trump rallies. When he was talking about NAFTA, the people were just jumping in. They were hooked based on him talking that populist rhetoric about reversing NAFTA. He didn't really do it. His renegotiated NAFTA is basically the same shitty trade deals we've had. But this is 40 years of people having to deal with exploitation, their wages being stolen, their benefits being stolen, this complicated, like, Byzantine maze that is the two-tier system. People have had enough. And I think this strike might go on for several more weeks, because these three companies, particularly General Motors, they've upped production before the strike to account for the strike. They've taken out loans, some of them, and I think they're just going to try and bleed out the union as much as they can. I think you're going to see these companies start laying off more non-striking workers, saying, well, there's nothing for them to do because certain plants aren't getting the parts from striking plants. But I think this union, based on what I've seen and the interview with President Fain, I think they're in this for the long haul. And it's not going to be fun and exciting on the picket lines forever. It's going to get more stressful. Workers are going to get sick and tired of being out here day after day. There's going to be more stress economically, and that's why it's so important, even if you're not part of the union, support them. Whether it's showing up with solidarity, honking, sending food. Go to UAW.org. I'm sure they have more ways you could support us. Again, we're out here funded by you. So anything you could do, again, if you could sign up as a member, that's really the best way to help us. And that's StatusCoup.com/join. $5 to $10 a month makes a huge, huge difference. I think we've been live for almost 2 hours, so I'll probably shut down in a little bit since workers right now, I've talked to a few, and at this point, they're talked out and don't want to talk anymore, but we'll be back here tomorrow or at another plant. We'll see just what's going on. Let me read some comments. We're still getting super chats, which is awesome. I think Colin sent another email, so let me get that. Hey, you want to talk? All right, I got those. Colin, let me know if there's anything else. I don't want to miss any super chats or whatnot. All right. So, let me read some comments. I think Colin's going to be sending me another thing. And temp works, people are saying they're screwing all the workers. You said it. All right, here's another one. Kevin Sellers, $50 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work. Happy birthday. Thank you. I am very much, well, I wouldn't say very much. I'm pushing 40 now because I'm turning 37. But every year that you make it, another year is good in my book. And this has been an exciting year for me. You know, we've continued. I think Status Coup, we're really trying, not shifting because we've always covered this, but we're really trying to focus on this labor, working class issues, you know, covering the Amazon union drive the year before they won. We've covered the Starbucks workers. We covered the John Deere strike back in 2021. I was just out on the picket line in New Jersey covering the strike of New Jersey nurses. We covered the Buffalo nurses strike. A lot of the strikes we've been covering, they've won and gotten really great contracts. We covered the UPS. It didn't ultimately become a strike, but we covered the practice picket lines. So we're really trying to cover a lot of stories that, frankly, if the corporate media covers it, it's propaganda. And honestly, in my view, there's not enough independent media coverage other than just, you know, people sitting in a studio doing all cap clickbait. And there's way too much independent media just drama and fighting with each other rather than, you know, covering these important stories. So I really, really appreciate everyone who's been supporting us. We're growing in subscribers, which is awesome. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. All right. We got, since I've been live on the website, 2 new members. We've gotten a couple YouTube members. So I will ask you one more time. What is real independent? Keyword, independent. What is real independent journalism worth to you on the ground with the working class? Because there's not a lot of it, frankly. I mean, I could name the independent outlets that I actually think do a good job. On labor, Real News, they do great work. Labor Notes, More Perfect Union does good work. I'm trying to think. I'm talking about like going on the ground with the workers. But as humbly as I can say it, I think we do the best, and I think we go the furthest. You know, it's not easy being on the road as much as we are between myself, John, Lewis, my colleague, has been in East Palestine 4 times in the last 7 months covering just the horrific greed and evil of Norfolk Southern detonating a chemical bomb over East Palestine. People are sick in East Palestine, but the government is doing nothing. Biden hasn't even visited East Palestine. Trump went for a few hours for a photo op, but the government's doing nothing for those people. Those people should be moved. Flint, it's almost a decade. They still don't have clean water. No one is in prison either. I'm actually writing a book on the Flint water cover-up that at the moment I have a call on Thursday with a possible publisher, so I'm excited about that. So many stories we've stayed on that others have not. And these are not the sexy stories. These are not the stories that will go viral. These are not the stories that's going to make us as a company, you know, blow up and get 1 million subscribers. You know, if I just changed our style and, you know, started doing drama and bullshit in headlines and just stupid topics all day long, we would do a lot better. But I like to sleep at night, and I like to be able to look in the mirror. So we're going to try to stay out here as long as possible. At the moment, we're definitely getting good donations, but we definitely could use more people signing up as a member because that's what sustains us. Consistent monthly membership. $5 a month, $10 a month, every month from our viewers once they become paying members. That's what keeps us going. And the more members we could get, you know, that's the longer we could stay out. Stories like this. The more reporters we could hire. Camera people, you get the drift. So thank you to everybody who has signed up. And, yeah, I think that's it. We will be back here tomorrow. I don't know if here or Toledo, one of those places. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything from Colin. Like I said, we have the interview with Shawn Fain, so we'll post that either tonight or tomorrow. We got to go through it first. All right. I think I got everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please support us. You can become a member at any time. Share these interviews. Share these live streams with people. Also, please, please, please. We've been posting clips on Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it these days. So share stuff on X. We've been posting shorter clips so they could get around on Twitter. And thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to get the support we've been getting. And I know the workers